have a look at The Independent. They, of course, have that story in the main about the crash in the Alps. But just tucked away at the bottom, Emily, this anti-elitist grammars lower their pass marks for poor pupils. What have they found out here?
Yes, so this is about how 5 grammar schools have doubled their admissions of disadvantaged pupils in a single year by setting a lower 11 plus qualification score for children from poorer homes. So there will be a different pass mark for poorer children so that they're able to enjoy a grammar school. I think there is a fear that children from very good, well-off primary schools go to very good, well-off grammar schools and benefit from that level of education. And some middle-class families are actually using grammar schools as an alternative to private education as well. And they just want to make sure that poorer families and disadvantaged families actually get the benefit of grammar schools as well. But it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because is it based on academic ability or not?
What did you make of this? They're saying
I'm baffled by this. I went to a bog standard comp, so Emily's the expert here. She was deputy head girl at a grammar school.
Thank you, James.
So it strikes me that it seems to go against the point of what I thought a grammar school was for. So I'm a little bit confused by the story, and there's not a lot to go on.
Yeah, no, we haven't been able to delve more deeply into that one, but certainly it's an interesting one that they seem to have uncovered there to do with pass marks. Let's have a look at the Times. Again, we won't look at their coverage of the crash, but rather down the right-hand side. Cameron heckled by angry pensioners. Who's been getting onto Cameron's
It's not
head?
been a good week. Prime Minister has it. Yeah, he faced quite a tough gig today at Age UK. The charity.
Is this a rerun of the Women's Institute? Slow hand clapping.
Wasn't quite in that league, but it wasn't a great deal better. He certainly looked pretty frustrated from the footage I've seen. And I mean, the irony about this is he was getting a very tough time from a group that have actually done very well at the coalition, and have seen things like pensioner benefits protected, pensions in real terms protected. But they were having none of that today, were they?
They certainly weren't. And he looked a bit taken aback, didn't he? I don't think he was quite expecting that reception. But, you know, even when he was talking about answering journalists' questions about how he wasn't going to go for a third term, and, you know, he was even getting jeered by pensioners on that. So he wasn't having a very good time. But as James says, you know, out of the coalition, the pensioners and people over 60 have actually done pretty well out of the coalition. People here were actually angry about social care cuts. And it was about the NHS and how, you know, you've cut social care, it's a lie that you're protecting the health budget. And that's really what he came under attack for. So it wasn't the pensioner benefits and savers accounts that people were talking about so much. And it says here that this is why Linton Crosby, the Tory election strategist, is insisting that the campaign focuses on the economy, because any time he talks about the NHS, it just plays into Labour's hands. He can't win at all.
But it does go to show, doesn't it, James, that the health service is so dear to people's hearts, and they want to know exactly what's going to happen and what different parties are planning.
They do, and what I fear is that we're going to face the most bolted down election campaign that we've ever seen, with very little interaction with the general public, and I fear this has probably made that even more likely, because I think they probably underestimated the crowd, and they won't be doing that again in a hurry. Yeah, it's interesting, because obviously, you know, a lot of people at Westminster are expecting Labour to have a pretty tough campaign. Their election campaigns haven't always gone smoothly in the past, and here we see a couple of bumps in the road for David Cameron, which we weren't expecting. It just goes to show that you never really know what on earth they're going to get up to.
No, exactly.
Well, there's been a bit of frolicking, shall we say. This is on the Daily Telegraph down at the bottom, as the coalition cabinet meets for the last time, and this would all suggest that it's all been a great riot and a lot of fun, Emily, and they've all loved being in coalition, and what a terrible shame it's all coming to an end.
Yes, it started with the Rose Garden 5 years ago, and now it ends with a cabinet meeting full of beer and crisps. This talks about how David Cameron handed out bottles of beer labelled Co-Ale-ition, and Nick Clegg handed out crisps, Coalition Crunch, and they all had a wonderful time, and they left number 10 with clutching these bottles of beer very happily and were photographed.
Sadly, they didn't drink them, did they?
They didn't drink them,
no
no.
emotional scenes. Oh, thank you.
No, exactly.
It's been great.
No, I was told it's too early. Somebody said they wouldn't crack them open quite yet.
Oh,
I can see these selling on eBay in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? They were really going the whole hog here because they'd got a label on the back of this bottle of beer saying, an unconventional pairing, this experimental beer has astonished doubters and exceeded expectations. What do you make of that?
Yeah, if they were thinking there's some read across to the coalition, I mean, I'm not sure that everyone would necessarily agree with that, but it is, as we were saying earlier on, it's one of the sort of signs that, you know, we are days away from the end of yet another parliament. You know, 5 years gone in a flash, although my wife did text me earlier and say what we've been doing is having children in the last 5 years. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it'll be a bittersweet moment for reflection from, you know, there are a lot of MPs who won't be coming back for various reasons. And, you know, there's still a chance we may end up with a coalition again after the next election.
Well, I was about to say, in a way, perhaps this marks, they say it's the end of an era. But really, it seems like coalition government may be a whole new chapter in British politics that we're getting more and more used to.
I think it's going to be a much stormier brew next time round.
Yes, absolutely. I'll see how the beer looks at the end of it.
Very good.
Well, that's all from the papers at this hour. My thanks to Emily and to James. Thank you. Good to have you with us.